And task 2, I've received all. Most of you have done it quite well. I'll just point out a few corrections where they're necessary. So that's good. And what's especially encouraging is the way that you've really all learned about spreadsheets, about Excel. So I encourage you to continue using them in whatever way you need, whether it's timesheets, whether it's budgets, whether it's labor requirements, whether it's keeping pages and pages of figures, data. All the people who do any quantitative work will be using spreadsheets for data entry and analysis. So if that's how things lead you down the road, then you're acquiring the necessary tools in your toolbox, the skills to move on. So thank you very much. Thank you for all your hard work in that area. So last week we looked at what? What did we look at last week? Anyone who was there? We only had 4 people on the night. Rowana, can you bring us up to date with what we were looking at last week? No, not clear.
Last week we have looked at some economic principles.
That's right. We were looking at the economic principles, and what was the one we looked at last week?
Diminishing factor.
Returns, yes.
Yeah, diminishing returns and
and what was the other one? Did we look at the? Yeah, we looked at the next one, didn't we? I think. Did we look at economies of scale, RP?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Diminishing returns, the difference of those is diminishing returns where you are putting more and more fertilizer on the same field or more and more chickens in the same house. Eventually it's not going to do you any good. In fact, you get to a point where if you put too much of anything into the one fixed field or house, that you will actually be losing chickens or losing money from your returns. So that's what diminishing returns is.
And also fundraising.
Yes, that's right. After looking at the economic principles, which is really helpful, we looked at fundraising. And what can you remember, or maybe someone else can remember who was there, what the 2 options were for fundraising for business? How do you raise capital for business? Pass it back to Rowana. I think she knows.
We did talk about potential investors where we could get money and help them. All that. Yes, thank you.
That's right. So there was quite a bit of talk about investors and how to grissimol to invest in your business. But of course, it's, at the end of the day, whether it's your own money or other people's money, no business is without some risk. We see all around, don't we? Businesses that collapse. Businesses that don't work. So that is, but then we also see good businesses. When I was running the business skills class, I used to, I don't know what Lidis has mentioned to you, but I used to say, okay, what makes a good business? So let's have a quick look here on our whiteboard. and I want to share let's see, let's make sure that you can see it too. Yeah, online. Okay. What makes a good business? Oh, what happened to my text? That's better. Can you all see the whiteboard okay?
Yes.
Thank you. What makes a good business? Because there are good businesses and there are poor businesses. Now, a good business in the eyes of God, in the eyes of our Christ-centered lives, is different to the good business in the world. A good business in the world makes money, but does not look after its employees, does not look after the community, does not look after the environment, does not look after creation. But a good business makes money, but also has several responsibilities. And we will actually be talking a little bit about creation care, maybe this week or next week as well. So the crucial question, and of course farming is just another business. So in this farm management course, we have been talking a little bit in a specialized way about farming business and not about other businesses, but there's a great deal of things, including spreadsheets, that applies to every business, not just farming. And this was some of the questions that we were starting to ask ourselves in our business training. So I answered this question to say, number one, obviously it has to make profit. There has to be a profit. Must. No profit, no point. Okay. That is the nature of profit-making business. If it doesn't make business, then you've got to find funds to run it as a non-profit or a charity or something like that. But if it's going to make money, it needs to make money to survive. And number two, it has to be sustained and sustainable. So a business I count as something that has a presence, even though it might not work full blast every day, even though there might be times when you don't run it full blast, you might close it, you might close the door, but at least you've got a door to close and a building to close, but you'll need to keep your good managers and staff and everything working so that the nature of the business, what we call the goodwill, the good planem, blodis la business imasi stap na gohead na stap olgeta. So there's got to be an element of permanence that you are planning to keep going and keep going. So it's got to be, the business has got to be good enough that it can be sustained, that you can still got the passion, the commitment to run that business on a permanent basis. Okay, you may plant crops and then harvest them, and then the field will sit there nothing for a while. But if you have the field, you will plant different things. You may rotate the crops. You may plant a cover crop or a legume crop or green manure, all sorts of options when your main cash crop is finished. So that's what I mean. It needs to be sustained and sustainable. And the third thing is it must serve the family and community. So this is a good planemblo business. From a good business, it must have a good relationship with family, with community, and so on. And you've got to be seen to be helping out where you need to, whether by donations or whether by free goods or services or whatever. The community. Suppose you got Ausgleich, suppose you got kein need blank compensation and so on. You need to have enough capital, enough income in there to be able to do your bit to serve the community. And number 4, you must be accountable. Honest and accountable. Integrity. Most important. So, this is what you need. This is what you must have if the business is to be good. And this applies to investment, to fundraising, what we were talking about on Wednesday. If the business is set up in the right way, people will be prepared to invest. People will be prepared to invest. But just to remember a couple of things about investing. Two things to remember. First of all, there will be years when there's no income. The first period, it depends on what sort of business you're running, but the first period so there'll be a negative cash flow in the first years. So there won't be anything coming out. And then when the business starts making money, investors, including you, something like that. Suppose you're lucky, you'll get 10 or 15%. You won't get all your money back. If you've invested 100,000 kina, maybe after a few years, you get 6, 8, 10, 12,000 as your share of the profits. But if it's a good business, if it's run well, you will continue to make profits forever. So eventually you will get your money back. And you will still get you still have that share of the business which has value. So many people think, okay, if I put in 100,000, then I'm going to get all that money back plus win money in a few years. That's not how it works. So just remember about investing. It's you put in a capital and you're getting back profits from income, which are not the same as the capital. The capital remains invested. And if the business works well, not only does it make profit, but the value of your capital goes up. So that if you want to sell your share or sell the whole business, you will get more value out of it if it runs well. The growth of the capital of the business will be very great. So you might start with a small business of 100,000 or a few 100,000 kina, and then as it grows well and you make more and more income and so on and profits, over the years people will see that the value of that whole business grows up. So you could sell it for much more, or 1 million or 5 million. That's how it works. You know, all the biggest businesses in the world started very small. We look at places like Apple Computer. You've probably heard of the iPhones and the MacBooks and all those wonderful machines. Well, that started, you know, with just a few people in a garage, and it just grew and grew from there. Same with all the other big businesses. They started very small. Any questions about that or comments? So the main thing, the important thing is that people's expectations should not be unrealistic. They should not be too high. You got to ask him or comments? Anyone? Thank you. Pass the mic over. Thank you very much. I'm not hearing you, David. Sorry. Minoarim.
Hello.
Yeah, fine.
Okay, thank you. Like we are looking at how others can invest in a business. Like if I want to invest in a business, what are some of the procedures to invest in a particular business?
What are some of the possible businesses you say?
Procedures or what steps or?
What are some of the steps?
Yeah.
Okay. First of all, you need to find people you can trust. I think that's very important. Both the business person and some advisors. Then you call in independent people or saveman who know the business or who know the owner or who can look carefully at the financial records, accountants, bank managers and people and so on. They will give you the best advice as to how you should invest your money. I think that's really the most important. But at the sort of custom level, then it's people that you know are experienced, who have already shown their ability, first of all shown their integrity, obviously, and also shown their ability to run things profitably. If you can see they are doing well, they can make a go at business. Let's say they have a small coffee shop or a small workshop of some kind, and they're fixing things and so on. How does it look? How are the customer service? How are the relationships? How are the finances? And so on. Are they doing well? Do they want to expand? How do they want to expand? Can they give you a good business plan? All those things, yeah? And the more you do your homework, the more likely you are to make a good investment. I'm good?
Yes, yes, I'm good. And another question is like, what are some of the requirements that I need to have before investing in others' business?
Well, you need your own capital,
Okay.
basically. It's the world of business is governed by law, especially when it comes to companies. Companies are very strictly controlled in most countries, because the difference, of course, with a company, with a registered company, is that if a company is formed and it goes broke, then you lose your investment, but you're not liable for anything else. But if it's not an incorporated business and it goes broke, then you are liable for all the debts that the company has incurred, which could be a great deal. If the business runs very badly and it's not incorporated, then all the D-nows it's got, you are personally liable for them as a shareholder or as an investor or as a partner, we say, in the business. So that's the important thing, really, is to be conscious of the status of the business, not just its performance and so on, but is it registered? And that gives you a safety net, basically, a registration. It means that you can't lose more than the money you put into it. Check with Lidis about all that. You'll be learning some of this, but I'm just giving you a different look, a different perspective. Any other questions? So do keep in mind the good business model that I've suggested at the top there as being a Christ-centered business. It's fine for Christians to run business as long as they run it the right kind of business in the right way. And that above all, they try not to serve the business should serve them. That's a struggle. When businesses run well, or even when they don't run well, it takes a great deal of your time and money. So that is a difficult balance to make. Anything else, anyone? Okay, thank you. I'll close this up and go on to another topic today, which is working with people or building relationships, should we say. My whiteboard. Okay. So today I just thought we'd look a bit about building relationships. We did have a couple of questions about employees and that sort of thing before. I remember you people asking a bit, how do we handle our farm workers? How do we handle any workers? How do we find good workers? How do we retain them? How do we train them? So I think it's just good that we go through some of these issues again. As you know, I talk a lot about building and maintaining relationships, and that's a large part of the business of integral mission. It's a large part of the business of running organizations or groups, and it's also a large part of the business of running profit-making or even non-profits. You have to build relationships. By and large, good relationships will make good organizations and good businesses. So one of the themes, as we said, is building relationships. Essentially, you need to, or we are doing, catching a vision of how the kingdom of God looks like in your community. If the core message of Jesus came through the community, the message of liberation, of care, of building relationships, how would that look? Not as a super spiritual minister or pastor, but as a simple worker facilitating new mindsets, growth, and change. So many times we've got to get off the podium and off the Sunday morning platform and build new, authentic relationships with everyone in the community, drawing them in to the kingdom of God. So that's the essence of relationships. And of course that spills over not only into formal church life, but also into life outside the church and into business or non-profits or social enterprises or farm management or whatever it is. If you end up not just employing people, but working with them in different relations, in different forms across the field, across the community. So if I wanted to be really to try and summarize our thing is, whoopsie, catch a vision of how the kingdom of God looks like in your community and build that kingdom through relationships. That's the essence of what we're doing. So management is about relationships at the end of the day. Just as you build relationships in the community or the church, so also as an entrepreneur or a facilitator, your success is built on relationships. Who are you going to be forming relationships with? Excuse me while I have some water. Okay, your time to answer. Who are the people you're going to be forming relationships with? Let's say you're running a local house kakaruk in your village. Who are some of the people that you'll be relating to? Bayu. Tok Wanta Musat, Bayu Story Wanta Musat, Bayu Wak Wanta Musat.
Hello.
Yes, Kip. Good morning.
For me, I will start from relationship with the neighboring community, my own community,
Yeah.
the people
Okay,
from
with
the
your
community.
community. Yeah, absolutely. So what different types of people would there be in the community that you might need to work with or to know? Community have different kinds of people, huh?
Yes. Yes, I will first target the uh, business-oriented people or people that will understand what I am trying to do.
Okay, that's a good idea. So business-oriented people, that's fine. Yeah, very good.
I can start with my family because I can talk with them and tell them what's really happening with the business, and they can be close to me and they can hear what I'm saying or understand what I'm trying to do with the business. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Very good. So that's very good. Perfect. Okay. Business-oriented people, family. Who else? So, who are you going to be selling your chickens or eggs to? You're going to need to. We just got the one
Yeah.
mic, eh? Yeah, okay.
In forming relationships, I will identify the different existing groups in the community.
Such as who? Give us some examples.
Yeah, the existing groups are like church groups, youth groups, the marginalized people, the
Okay.
working class people. Yeah, and
Okay.
identify some potential customers.
Okay, good. So that's really all groups of customers, isn't it? So
Yeah.
customers are going to be one of the big groups that you need to use to make relationships, okay? What other sort of people are there that you need to get on well with, apart from customers? Maybe you need to, it depends if you're just running it yourself or if it gets big enough that you're going to have to employ someone, you will need to find some workers, won't you? Workers. Who else? Maybe people who can help you, like transport the feed, to help you pick up the kai block kakaruk in the big town and bring it back to your place. So you will need to have, what shall we say, suppliers, and then you will need to find people who can advise you. So technical support, advisors, maybe craftspeople or builders who can help you build, the tradespeople who are skilled tradespeople, maybe technical support, all those sorts of things, yeah, and maybe even community leaders. All of these have different roles in making your business a success. The more you build good relations with all of these people, the better things will go. It's really relationships are the foundation, as I keep saying, for other things, for whether it's training people or empowering them or ministering to them, whatever it is. You need the right relationships with the right people. And that can start from things like, early childhood, if they want chickens at a discount because it's a ministry for the little pickaninnies to learn to eat chicken or to have eggs in their diet or whatever. I mean, that can be a huge bonus for those kids, for instance. But then again, how is the early childhood going to be able to afford or pay for it? Because there will be a cost, of course, and so on and so on. Any other comments or, yeah? What were you saying, someone? Nogat, is everyone happy about that one? Oh, can I move this? Can I move it? Okay, no problem. Move that to one side a bit like that, and then my cursor. Yeah, so you've got with the community, so really what you need to do with the community, as well as running a business, as well as running your farm or your chickens, whatever, you need to train people on how to use their money, how to save. I think it's absolutely vital that people should learn to save enough that they can afford to pay for what you're offering. With the local leaders, with your church, and so on. So your church, if you are a believing business person, if you are a big member of a local church, you've not only got to contribute to your church, but the people in your church will be your market, won't they? The people in your church will be your market. They shouldn't expect to get free eggs or chickens, but they should certainly expect gutla gris, gutla something, he come up. Now this applies to your family, this applies to, yeah? If you're getting eggs from the thing, or if you're getting chickens and so on, then put some money back in the business for each egg or each chicken that you get. As we said, with technical and professional advice with new and aspiring entrepreneurs. So the wider and deeper your network of relationships, the better the result. All good small businesses, community-based businesses depend on good relationships. And that means not dependency, that means not just D now forever and for everyone, no. If the business is to survive, you've got to be strict. Any points you want to make? Any questions, comments? Okay, thank you. So, as a farm manager, where are you going to go? What kind of people will the farm manager relate to? Let's make a list. You got customer, yeah? First thing first, most importantly, your customers, your market. Who are your market? Are you going to sell right there in the community, or are you taking all the produce to town? What other people do you relate to as a farm manager? Which other people?
Workers.
Workers, exactly. Thank you. And what else? I've said it here. You're going to be relating to those investors as well, aren't you? That's really important, because the chances are you don't have all the cash to run the business yourself. So you'll be relating to investors and to your bank. You'll be relating to the bank. Imasegat gupla sin down one time bank too, in case you're borrowing money. Even if you're not borrowing money, you have to come up in gupla sin down with the bank manager so they handle your money well. There's those advisors. Imasegat gupla kakaruk save man lo town or save meri. Maybe in the community, maybe in the next community, there's people who are running good chicken businesses and they will be very happy to help you. Lenders, there we are, the bank, community leaders and employees. So you've got all these people you are relating to. Top of the list, I think, is the customers. That's going to be the most important thing. The better you get on with your customers, the more happy they will be to pay the prices you're asking. You got kan weblong grissimol, advertisements, special deals, all sorts of things that by grissimolo, buy something for you. If you're doing the wholesale work, if you're selling 100 chickens at once or 20 boxes of onions or whatever it is, then you've got a grissimol tininga, you've got a grissimol factories or grissimol hagen wholesale market suppliers to buy your product. Quality and good relations. Contractors. But you got contract one time or sampler builders, Walkman. But I got contract one time all feed suppliers. I haven't even put the suppliers of feed, suppliers of chemicals or anything like that. So let's put suppliers on the list as well while we're at it. Where are we? Text. I'm going to make a there. Also very important. So the wider and deeper the network of relations, the better the result will be. Anyone want to say anything? Kip, did you have anything you wanted to add?
No, I have a question. In building a relationship with when we build good relationship and then we try to do business, we go into business and then like we build those good relationship. Some they take advantage of the relationship and then they come in and then they, because we have the good relationship, they feel free to ask for like dinners and
Yeah.
this. But how can we, what are some of the ways that we can do to still maintain that relationship?
Good point. Yeah. Good question. Good question. I think you can explain to them that the business needs to be sustained. You can be very honest with them. You can say, you know, at the end, I'm not making very much money. You can see the figures, or you can tell them roughly the sort of financial plan here that, you know, I don't have a big flash car. I still live in my house. And make all those sorts of points that, you know, I am, as well as making some income for myself, I am providing a service to the community and to you. I'm making chickens or food or services or whatever available to you where there was nothing before. So you can just bring in a little note of good housekeeping, let's say, into that relationship. But it's a really good point, Kip. Anyone else want to add something? My suggestions? Thank you, Api.
So, in order to get the product got sold, we have to be a good person to grease him more long, buy him something.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
How
But of
can-
course you got, yeah, go on.
Yeah, how can we grease him all?
Yeah, good.
Some ways we can.
Some ways you can grease them. Well, first of all, you've got to be good friends with the musky business, okay? So you have to respect them. I think that's the foundation. You have to respect people. It's a bit like evangelism, you know? When you're telling people about Jesus and how he's saving them, you must, underneath the foundation of that relationship is respect. So you respect them enough to say, well, even if they don't accept Christ today or next week or next month and so on, we are still good friends. You see my point? And the same thing a little bit applies to business. Even if they don't buy my chickens or eggs or don't get fixed in the workshop or whatever it is, we are still good friends. So that's the sort of number one fundamental rule, I think. But then on top of that, you can grissimol, firstly with the quality of what you sell, with the service you provide, like a smile, try and help them as far as possible to buy things, maybe discounts, depending on what it is that you sell, maybe introductory offers, maybe after the 10th box of eggs that they sell, you can offer them one at half price. Maybe what we call loyalty, if they've been buying so many for so long, then you give them a free one or a discount. Maybe it's the other way around. Maybe you give them an introductory offer of half price or whatever for the first box of eggs that they buy or whatever. I don't know. So you can have different strategies to grease them. Good questions. Very good. Yeah. So that applies, of course, whether you're selling them, corn, taro, peanuts, or whether you're selling them more manufactured goods. The same principle, really. And of course, not all the relationships we were saying is of customers. You've got all these other relations, even your church, and so on. So you'll have different types of relationships with different types of people groups. Not everyone's a customer. You've got employees, which we're going to be looking at a bit more, and you've got community leaders, and so on. So I know that I understand that the context can be challenging. Sometimes the culture is not one that understands business relationships and accepts the principles of business behind it. You have to just work to come up in this a good planem of people who do business fairly, of people who help one another even from the business, and then people will be more inclined to not, ask for D now forever, and to understand how the business runs. So as I was saying in the previous slide, when we were talking about financial literacy, give them a bit of education about how to budget, how to save, and so on, to the point where they will be prepared to pay the going rate for business, for the products, and you can stay in business and they can benefit. Good, thank you. Is that helps to answer your question, Api?
Yes, thank you.
Good, any other questions or comments? Okay, thank you very much. So, just to introduce this, and then we'll have a break in a moment. There are two ways to engage people to work for you. Two ways, a bit like investors and lenders, but it's a different relationship there. One is by employing them and paying them by the time period, by the fortnight, and so on. And one is to employ them by what they do. An employee is hired and paid by time period. And employees also have rights. They can expect to have some paid leave if you agree, or they maybe even expect some super and get paid into NAS fund, and so on. Depends how permanent you need them, how much responsibility you give them. If they're a well-qualified person, if you're taking them on as a full-time farm manager to grow the business, they can expect some leave and NAS fund, super and that sort of thing, and maybe even bonuses or overtime, depending on you. So that's how employees work. They can be temporary employees. You can say, right, we just need you to work for 40 hours a week for the next 3 months, 6 months, or else they can be casual or permanent, which means you just sign them up by contract. If you need to maybe take them on for 2-3 years, you can renew their contract after that. It's good to have contracts. Even employees need contracts. So they set out their rights. It's important to give employees their rights. You can't work them into the ground. You can't expect them to do more or extra duties or for less pay and so on. So they can be full-time, of course, which is normally 35 or 40 hours a week, or they can be part-time. They can be less than 40 hours a week. If it's only 20 hours a week, maybe 2.5 days a week, or 2 days 1 week and 3 days the next week. It all depends on who they are, what their needs are, what their availability is, what you need them to do. So I'm now come up in talk or right, come up in agreement between you and the employees. And of course, although some employees are paid in cash, others have bank accounts, and you just transfer the money directly into their bank account. Casual means you just take them. Really, casual employees means you just take them without a contract, I would say. Casual. Casual means you just take them and then you can hire and fire more or less as you wish. Casual employees are usually manual workers or less trained, less skilled, where you can just hire and fire them. So employees are eligible for benefits, paid leave, superannuation, as I was saying. Super is their NAS fund, so that when they retire, they'll have some money to live off like us all. Okay, take a break. Take a few minutes, Malolo, and then we'll start up again. Thank you. Okay, Rowan, if any of the lost sheep are outside, can you try and get them back in, please? Thank you.
Roland, they just went out and they are. I stood outside and tried to sign them to come in, but they are just going to where they are going. Just now they went out. That's what they said. And
Well, thank you for trying, anyways.
yeah, and I have something to tell you. I did send my task 3 assignment yesterday, but
Yes.
the name is not written in there. So just to remind you, it's cabbage and
Okay.
the income is
Let me
one.
just
Yeah.
let me just check the crop budgets. Wait a moment. Okay, where are we? Crop budgets. Yeah, no, I've got it. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I put names on the things as soon as they come in.
Oh yes, thank you. Because
Okay.
I was trying to send it with the but then the 2 files were they were rejected, so I had to send only the Excel.
Okay. Okay, well, thank you. Thank you, everyone, for trying so hard. There's been a really good output in this course, and that's very encouraging.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's just wait for everyone to get back here.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, so 14, we're up to 7. No, we're not. Up to 6. Oh. Okay, everyone. Well, I'm going to just carry on and the others can get in. Please, when you take your breaks, make sure that it's only a few minutes, not 10 minutes like this. Long time too much. So please come back quickly. So, as we were saying, you've got the different kinds of employees, but a contractor is hired for a specific job. That's the difference. So contractors don't get leave, they don't get super, they're just paid lump sum. And then finish, bye-bye. That's also, you have a contract, and you say, okay, you are going to do this, build my chicken house, or whatever it is, or plow my land, or provide this or that or the other. So they don't get paid leave, they don't get holidays, they don't get super, they're just paid once lump sum. Usually you might say, okay, I'll pay you 50% now or 60% now, and then when you finish the job, when I see that the job's been done satisfactorily, I pay you the rest. Now you can also pay contractors for farm work. You say, okay, you weed this field or these rows of this field, or you plant and so on. When you've done the job, you just get the money and bye-bye. Of course, you have to check at the end of the job or at the end of the day that the job has been done. Or you can say, okay, your day's work is to plant 5,000 seeds or whatever it is. If you finish the job, you can go home. We're not going to pay you by the hour, we're just going to pay you by the job. So the contractor's system can apply to anything really that the workers can do just as a set pattern of work. For instance, if you're growing coffee gardens, well, then, and you've got to weed a certain area, you say, okay, today and every day you're going to weed 300 coffee trees, let's say, Minnesota. When they've done the job, they get the money, they go home. So they might work very quickly, they might finish the work by 11 or 12 in the morning, that's fine. Because there's been an agreed sum to be paid for an agreed amount of work. So then they become contractors and not employees in a sense, because they're paid by the job, not by the time period. I'm clear the difference between the two. Am I right? Questions? Not clear? Okay, so that's the difference between those two. You can use both or either in your farm or your community workers or whoever who are taking this on. So quickly, and we'll go through them, the 7 principles of employing people. 7 principles of employing people. This is all on the on Cluster, so you don't have to write it all, but if you want. Writing is always a good way of remembering things. Okay, 7 principles. Number 1, find the right people. It's fairly obvious. Number 2, good communication. good communication. Depends on what your people are. Most people have mobile phones these days. Most people, certainly everyone will get SMS, even if they're, what do you call them, bump phones. Still text messages, of course, emails, WhatsApp groups, Facebook Messenger, any kind way of communicating. But many times what you need is you need to talk with people face to face. Still the most effective form of communication, because you're using non-verbal communication as well as the verbs, as well as the words. So ensure effective communication, clearly define your goals and objectives so that people know what they're supposed to be doing, how, where, when. It's all clearly defined. Then regularly evaluate performance. Skelim, walk. Don't just employ them week by week, month by month, year by year without doing some performance, what we call performance appraisal. Skelim kind walk, see what they're doing well, see what they could do better. Show appreciation, so important. One of the most important things when you're working with people, praise them on what they've done. Value people, show appreciation. Conduct regular training and staff development. Everyone can learn, everyone should learn, everyone should be learning and doing better constantly in their work. So you have to undertake the process by planning staff training, staff development. As faculty at CLTC, we regularly have in-service where we're learning more things and becoming better at what we do. And lastly, create a positive workplace culture. Come up in good plus sin down, good plus something low, place blow, walk, blow farm. So maybe that will be just have some water or cordial, maybe a kai every few weeks, bung one time, sit down na hamamas. Make the work productive and interesting. Make people happy to be part of your business or your farm. So those are the 7 principles of employing people. Respect, fairness, integrity, and accountability shows up nowhere further than in the way you employ people. Otherwise your workers will leave or they will be poor. You really pay it. You really pay in terms of problems, costs, if your relationship is not good with your workers. Okay, quickly. Firstly, recruit the right people. What do you look for in recruiting people? How do you find the right people to work? Any ideas? Thank you, David. Can't hear.
Character.
Say again?
Character of the people. Consider the character of each person.
Character, yeah, absolutely. Good. How do you find out if they're good character? Suppose you know Boogie Mole before.
Time lo interview na.
Yeah.
O kim application lo all na. Experience na. Reference.
Yeah. What other ways could you do to find out their character?
Maybe you will make a research about this fellow. He's like CV or one map and been work long.
Yeah. References.
That's
You know
right.
about references? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. References are good, but referees are even better than references. References is just a piece of paper. They can always find people to make nice stories about you. But if you talk to the actual people, you get a better picture, because you can find out how long they've known this person, what do they think about them, what their weaknesses are, what their strengths are, and so on. So you can learn a lot from talking to referees. If they just give you a name and a phone number and so on, then you can talk with them. Okay, character, yes. What else apart from character is important? Rachel.
Education background.
Yes, education background, that's right. Qualifications. What else? I think the most important thing I would look for is what? Pass the mic over to Kip or Sino.
Yes. One of the thing that we can see in those people is they have the potential to do the
Good.
work. Or
Yeah, the capacity. Yeah, are they strong enough? Are they smart enough? Do they know what they're doing? So it's not just the education, although that's important, but the capacity of the person. And a lot of that will be governed by
the other thing is their experience.
exactly
Yep.
their experience. What have they done?
Yep.
Yeah, very good. Okay, excellent. You are all going to make good business advisors or employers. Excellent. So those are the sorts of things you need to find out. So, are they one talks? That's the big thing. Sometimes that can be good, sometimes that can be less good. There are times when it's good to employ one talks, and there's times when it might not be good. So that's the question mark you might have to ask. Are they qualified, or the only qualification is because they're your kandere or line or nephews or nieces or whatever? Say again?
Tambu.
That's right. So scale him now, yeah? A lot of people just employ people they're our line, they'll be fine, but it doesn't always work, does it? Okay, make sure they are skilled, enthusiastic, and motivated. You'll get their enthusiasm, their motivation, if that comes through at the interview, then you're really in a good shape. You can take them on for a probation period. Does anyone know what that is?
Brothers and sisters.
It's a way of seeing how they actually work on the job without signing them up for a permanent contract. You can say, okay, for the first 3 months, you're on trial basis. And if we don't like you, we can just rouse you, straight away without contract, if it doesn't work out. So that can be good for the employee because it gives the employee a chance to see what the work is like. And of course, it's good for the employer too, because the employer then doesn't have that commitment of, having to keep the worker on for a longer period. So a trial basis is a good way to go. Very good. Of course, we see all these things. The staff should be humble, honest, self-driven, so that means you don't have to stand over them all the time. They can have what we call initiative. They have their sense of, oh yeah, let me see if I can do this well or better, or tackle a task, not the one that the employer or supervisor has told me to do, but I can pick up on something else. Humble, honest, self-driven, and good team players, so they must get on well with everyone. Some people are very good at working, but they're not good at taking orders.